From what I think I know, if somebody was a jiu-jitsu teacher and then he has a disciple, karate teacher, disciple, the martial arts seems to be separate, doesn't go into their life, Taichi teacher is not just a teacher of martial art. It seems to me. I get that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good observation.
Yeah.
But there's a key detail in there, I think, that is one of the really great benefits of Taichi right now. Because the thing is all those practices do have that responsibility or that relationship as well. Like you mentioned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and karate and Taekwondo. They actually do, but a lot of the modern practice of these things has evolved into such a way that the practice is separate from the philosophy or separate from the character building. And other masters have talked about this better than I can speak on other behalf, because I'm really only practicing Taichi. I'm practicing Wudang martial arts. But in my experience living here for so many years, I've had a lot of people come from many different schools to learn here and add that to their kind of learning curriculum, right? But one of the things that I find really true is that a lot of people do what you're saying, is that they train in a gym or they train at a dojo or they train at a school of some kind, and then they kind of leave the training at the door and they go back to their life, and it doesn't alter much in their personal life per se. That's one of the biggest responsibilities of us as Taichi teachers or as martial arts in Wudang, is that the philosophy isn't just for training. It's not just something that we do, on the training floor. It's something that should be digested and internalized for your daily life. What I'm saying is that, what I'm trying to articulate is that a lot of the sports of martial arts have been separated from the cultures of martial arts. And that's a big issue. If you ask any traditionalist in any field, they have a big problem with that. They have a big problem with the standardization of things. When you define things down and make it streamlined for competition, it's very easy to not think about the culture that developed and evolved into what we have today. People always like to compete martial arts. Even if I say I'm a Taichi teacher online, you get a lot of pushback from people saying Taichi's useless and this can beat you, and why don't you fight this person? I said I was a Taichi teacher. I didn't say anything about beating anybody. I didn't say anything about fighting. I didn't say anything about being the best. But people immediately have that association. And so that's a big deviation from any of the arts, any of them. They all have their own philosophies. They all have their own practices that are supposed to develop you into a morally better person, into some kind of character building. Because martial arts are guidelines. They're not sparring rules. It's not who can punch the hardest. It's really trying to develop you as a human being and be more well-rounded. So I think that is it's a good observation, but the question isn't necessarily why does Taichi still have that, it's why does everything else not? I think that this is really important. We have to keep that. Taichi is a little bit later to the mainstream world, less people know about it. So for that sense, it still has that connection to its culture. It still has that connection. It hasn't been stripped away by society yet. So I hope we can keep this. It's kind of the responsibility of Taichi teachers to say, hey, we have this martial art, but the martial art is the embodiment of this philosophy. It's this principle that you can use in your life and not just to compete with others. So it's true. We do need to preserve this.